Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
We're learning
Rabbi.
Mishnah Yoma, Parak Ches, chapter 8, Mishnah Dal, Mishnah 4. And a quick introduction. Minors are exempt by biblical law from obligations and prohibitions of the Torah. Boys are considered minors until they turn 13 and girls until they turn 12. At that point, they become obligated to fulfill all mitzvahs as adults. So according to Torah law, there is no obligation to keep, there's no obligation on the children to have to keep any obligations or any restrictions until they're bar mitzvah or bas mitzvah. Although minors are not biblically obligated, the rabbis require that they be trained to perform any mitzvahs they can properly perform, so that they will be accustomed to performing mitzvahs when they become adults. Imagine all of a sudden, right by 13 or 12, you start making them do things. It'd be pretty tough. So the sage has instituted that we train them beforehand. Our Mishnah discusses how this concept applies to the mitzvah of fasting on Yom Kippur. Do you train children to fast? It's Torah obligation. When they become bar bas mitzvah, they're not going to have a choice. They're going to have to fast a full day. So what's the process of chinuch? Chinuch, that's the word that we use for training. So the Mishnah reads, Hatinoikais, children, ein ma'anin oisan b'yom kippurim. We do not afflict them on Yom Kippur. Now, we're using the word afflicting because when the Torah talks about the prohibition of eating, it calls it afflicting oneself. But we're talking about the prohibition of eating or drinking. So the Mishnah says we do not afflict them on Yom Kippur, which means we will not hold back food and drink from them for an entire day. That's what you're supposed to do according to the Torah law of Yom Kippur. It's a whole day. That we will not do to children, even to train them into the mitzvah. But we will train them a year or two before, so that they will be accustomed to performing the mitzvahs. So we're not doing a full day, which means that's what it means. We're not afflicting, but we're going to train them a year or two before. And what does training mean? How do you train them to fast if we're not making them fast the whole day? The answer is we withhold food from the children an hour or two before the usual time of the first meal of the day. So the first meal of the day, breakfast, whenever time it comes, we make them hold off either an hour or two. The Mishnah doesn't mention this. The Mishnah says mechanchen. It's about Tanura that says, what does the training mean? It means that we delay their first meal of the day. How long do you delay it for? Either 1 or 2 hours. It depends on the strength of the child. If it's a strong child, it's 2 hours. If it's a weak child, it's 1 hour. The Mishnah does mention lifnei shana v'lifnei shnasayim, before a year, before 1 year, before 2 years. That means sometimes we're going to get them to do this a year before they become an adult. Sometimes we'll do it 2 years before. Again, it depends on the strength of the child. If it's a strong child, we're going to have them start doing this. We're going to start doing this 2 years before they become an adult. If they're weaker, we're going to start doing it a year before they become an adult. So for a boy, becomes an adult at 13, it's at the age of 11 that we're going to start doing this. We're going to start delaying the first meal. If it's a stronger child, if a weaker child, it's going to be at the age of 12. For a girl, if it's a stronger girl, it's going to start at the age of 10. For a weaker, start at the age of 11. And the whole point of this is in order so that they will be accustomed to the mitzvahs. So by the time they become an adult and they have to fast the whole day, they will at least have already kind of started a little bit this process of afflicting themselves on Yom Kippur by delaying their first meal. Now, what they bring down very interesting here is that at these ages, meaning at the ages that we start training them to fast, which again, we don't do the whole day. There are a lot of kids who do it a whole day, but there's no obligation to do it a whole day. Okay. At these ages, they are also prohibited the entire day from the other forms of affliction mentioned in Mishnah 1. Meaning once they hit the age that we're going to train them about eating, then they're not going to wear shoes a whole day. They're not going to bathe a whole day. They're not going to smear oil on themselves, for the purposes of, pleasure, a whole day. So although when we're training them about fasting and drinking, it's not a whole day. It's only delaying delaying the first meal of the day. When they hit that age, when it comes to the other afflictions, the other prohibitions, that they will start doing for a whole day. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm hungry.
A question is-
Me too.